Recently, some shit went down in my field and it turned into a massive internet pylon. As soon as I saw it unfold in various social media, the first feeling I had was, oh my gosh, I hope that the two parties involved are okay. The second thing that crossed my mind and that I actually did was write to all of my advisees and say, under no circumstances should you get involved in this pylon. Steer clear. In this video, I want to give you 5 of many reasons why you should avoid academic internet pylons like the plague. If you're new to this channel, it's about navigating academia. The first one is that when you take part in the comments feed of what is quickly becoming an internet pylon, you are subscribing to pain. You're subscribing potentially to your own pain, but definitely to the pain of at least one and perhaps many other individuals. If you have ever seen one of these comment feeds unfold, you'll see that very quickly it becomes toxic, acidic, and rapidly departs from anything resembling a conversation that could lead to a constructive outcome. It does not matter what you write, and this is the strange irony which we'll talk about. It doesn't matter if you're coming in as a neutral arbiter, as the voice of reason. Simply by adding a comment to an internet pylon, it's like spritzing gasoline on a fire. Steer clear. Number 2, it makes you insufferably boring. 2 recent meetings I've had, we got lunch or we had some sort of meeting. I haven't seen these individuals for many, many years. And ironically, I had absolutely no idea that they were even involved with this internet pylon that took place in my field. But it was probably within about 2 minutes of the conversation that it came up. And what was clear is that the person was thinking about it the entire time, probably was thinking about it when they invited me, assumed that it was front and center on my mind, and wanted to sort of address the elephant in the room. But for me, there was no elephant in the room. I was just genuinely happy to see them. When one jumps into an internet pylon, and especially if they catch any flack or are sort of caught up in anything, it makes someone harbor these ideas that we perseverate on these ideas over and over again, and we begin to project them on the world around us. We begin to think that every conversation, every interlocutor we meet is somehow secretly thinking about that, and that I should bring it up and address it. What ends up happening is that you become a one-note symphony, this sort of monotonous, repetitive drone that flattens out all conversation, even when it's completely irrelevant. The third is an internet pylon is within about 1 microsecond no longer about what it claims to be about. I kind of want to do a phenomenological analysis, almost maybe a data visualization of the comment feed of this particular internet pylon, but really any of them. And what you'll see is that they ramify in the literal etymological sense of rame, like branch. The ramification of it is suddenly you start to have fights inside fights and allusions to other fights and backstories making their way in and personality conflicts from 20 years ago showing up, and very, very rapidly, this thing that was ostensibly about the topic at hand becomes like a 15-dimensional shit show. And you do not want to be involved in that, because for you might imagine, hopefully you're a person that is trying to arrive at this as a kind of calm voice of reason, but there is no reason involved because you're entering into a 15-dimensional cauldron of pain. It's not like a flood, it's much more like a forest fire where little flames are just jumping across the canopy and new pockets of conflagration are emerging. Stay out of the forest fire altogether. The fourth thing is that there's a weird dynamic to internet pylon comments feeds, which is that you might think that as long as I'm cautious and calm with my comments, I can just be a sort of a presence in the conversation, and it's really just a matter of what I say. But the real true dynamics is that the moment you press comment, the moment you submit, it's not just everything you say can and will be used against you in a court of whatever. It's also everything you never said, you would never say, you would never dream of. From the moment you step into the room, you're inviting and vulnerable to all sorts of projections and assumptions based on things that you are completely unaware of. So you lose your voice. The second you walk in, you no longer become an agent. You become a kind of projection screen that any one of the hundreds potentially of people that are taking part in the internet pylon can just project whatever video they want. So that's another reason to steer clear, because you will be out of control within microseconds of taking part. The fifth and final one, again, there are many reasons, is that there are better ways to get involved. This is not simply about avoiding this stuff and burying your head in the sand. Maybe the issue that's being discussed does matter to you. Maybe you have an opinion. Maybe you have a feeling. In the case of an internet pylon, there are two simple letters that solve all issues with this. DM, a direct message. For that matter, a phone call, an email, something in which you can, separate from the internet conflagration that's unfolding before everyone's eyes, by all means, you can send a message to one or both parties in it. You could send a message to someone who is in the comment feed if for some reason you feel like you want to maintain contact. There are other means of telecommunication at our disposal and have been since, I don't know, the 19th century. It turns out that the addition of a comment in this long comment thread is, ironically, the worst way to take part in that conversation. I know for myself, with this not to be named just shit show of a story in my field, I knew or was associates with both parties involved, one a bit more than the other, and I reached out. I said, kind of irrespective of the substance or the content of what's going on, I know that this is painful. I know it makes you feel probably paranoid, like who do you trust? It's something that can make you lose faith with humanity, not just have a bad day. It's something that can, seep into your worldview. And it's just to say, I'm sorry you're going through this. And this is not something that needs to take place in the comments field, and in fact is better left out of the comments field. So you can take part. That's not to say you shouldn't, but the comments field is not the place to do it. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think there's value to getting involved in these sorts of internet pylons? Have you ever gotten involved in an internet pylon and regretted it, whether for the reasons I've outlined or for other reasons? How do we navigate conflict online? Are online venues even possible, even potential as productive venues for these kinds of conversations? I'll see you in the next video.